Yeah. In your house with O'Con. Hey, O'Con in your house. Hollywood in your house. Hypocrisy's head in the clouds. Curating all kind of loud. Wrestling in front of the crowds. Paragon's holding it down. Anybody can get it. Josh Joseph standing on his position. He is the voice. There is no choice. We is them boys in your house making wrestling noise. Moving fast, it's like cruiserweight action. In your house is the perfect distraction. Pumpers in your ears when you in traction. Get this work with some wrestling action. Smoke.
What's up, guys? What's cracking? The comment, and I'm in your house. We here. We ready to make a movie. I hope you guys are ready to make a movie. I hope you guys are with the shits, because I'm with the shits. And we're ready to talk a little wrestling. That's right, you already know the vibes. Anytime we slide on through, we're here to give you that work when it comes to this professional wrestling business. And guys, you already know them vibes. Guess who's back? Yeah, it's motherfucking Howse with a solo shot for your motherfucking mouth. Yeah, here we go. We jumping right into it here on In Your House. You already know them vibes, y'all. And man, what a weekend we just had. Team In Your House, myself, the voice, Josh Joseph, and Hypocrisy Jones, and everything that we're doing. I mean, we were just at a really big show this past weekend at House of Heat Pro Wrestling in Lafayette, Indiana for Every Child Wins, and it was a great event. Really a lot of great things to come from House of Heat that I can see. I was there backstage doing my thing all night. We got some great interviews for you guys. I got a chance to do a little commentary with somebody I've been wanting to work with, Nick Manoa. Got a chance to work with him. He's out of the Louisville area, does commentary at a lot of places, most namely GCW, Game Changer Wrestling. So got a chance to work with him. That was cool. It was just one match, but still got a chance to say that I did it. It's done. I worked with my man, and I'll see him down the road again. So, you know, it was great. And we got some really great interviews, y'all. So many. We got an interview from Misa Kate, who just news breaking that she will be departing from NWA. We got her on the show before that news was announced, so we talked to her about her time in NWA and just kind of picked her brain and chronicled her career a little bit with intergender wrestling and everything. So had that, and then we had OVW's Big Zoe. We talked to my man, just kind of crossed paths with him backstage and was like, hey, we're doing some interviews, and he came through, had a really great interview with him. We talked about his work in OVW, and everything that he's doing there, everything that he's doing with mental health. My man has wrote a book, so most definitely he was a vibe. Big Zoe was cool. He's going to be on the show. We also had Eric Dillinger, Public Enemy Eric Dillinger, independent professional wrestler, deathmatch star as well, Eric Dillinger. Had him on, and that episode is going to air this Friday on the podcast, on Apple Podcast and on Spotify. So be prepared for that. That's coming. And it was a really great episode with my man. My guy Voice was on it with me, and he knew and knows Eric really well. So we had a good conversation, but also we were able to get the manager of champions, ECW legend Bill Alfonso, a great manager in his time. And of course, I'm a manager as well. So that was great for me, most definitely, to be able to pick his brain and hear him talk about the business. But it was really great for my man, Josh Joseph, who was huge on watching him on ECW as it was happening. He's a huge ECW fan, so this was great for my man. Voice. It was just great. I was so happy for him. But while we were doing that and getting great interviews for you, once again, Eric Dillinger, his episode is going to be dropping this Friday. Then next week we're going to have another one. Then next week we're going to have another one. Then we're going to end it with Bill Alfonso. That is going to be our final interview in this interview series that we are doing, 4-episode series. So hope you guys really enjoy that, and it's going to be a vibe. So guys, also I want to go ahead and jump in before we really start talking about some Monday Night Raw and talk about some Smackdown. And we got some stuff going on here, y'all. We got a group chat that is going on, the House Call, a group chat where we get a community together. We're putting a community together of pro wrestling fans through In Your House. And this is your opportunity, y'all, to get your thoughts out there, get your views on pro wrestling out there through the podcast. We really want to make it a community. We want to make it a big thing. And that's exactly what we're pushing towards. As once again, we had a really great outing this past weekend, I believe, that the team did, and we did really well in my eyes. So much, it was great. And we got my man Voice up in here. He says a childhood dream come true to speak with Bill Alfonso, the manager of champions. Yes, man, I know it. I know it was great for you. Most definitely. And I was happy to be able to do that and give that to the team. It was an awesome time, and we really got a lot out of it, a lot of perspective out of it, a great time, memories, all of that. So yeah, it was great. Good, just really good stuff all around. But now we have wrestling that's rocking. You already know that's what brings us together here, is that wrestling. That's why we're having this house call that we have with this group chat, getting your thoughts out there. And there's been questions asked in that group chat, but we're going to be polling things. Here's my man Grunmeister here. He's jumping in real quick while he's at work. Appreciate you, bro, sliding in. No, you can't stay if you're at work, but most definitely if you can, we'd definitely love to have you. So, guys, Monday Night Raw was last night, and we had Friday Night Smackdown this past Friday, of course, because it's on Friday. That's why they call it Friday Night Smackdown, all right? So we're going to talk real quick because we didn't have a Sunday house party, because I think we were all just kind of like recovering, to be honest with y'all. We were all, I mean, I know I was tired, and Saturday was crazy, the drive and everything. It wasn't too far. I don't want to act like it was a 4 or 5 hour drive. It wasn't nothing like that. But like, I just think, a lot had come out of it, and everybody was just kind of tired. So we didn't talk SmackDown, which means we didn't talk all the things that happened on SmackDown. And I'm not going to break everything down. I just want to say one thing really quick, and that's the fact that I was right. I mean, we did this episode last week, myself and the voice Josh Joseph, and we did That's True, That Might Be True, That's Ridiculous, one of my favorite games. And we talked about Jade Cargill's chances of winning Money in the Bank. And I straight up said, no shade or nothing like that to Jade, because I'm a Jade fan. But I said, that's ridiculous that she's going to win Money in the Bank, because she's not even getting past the qualifier to qualify for Money in the Bank. Tiffany Stratton is winning. And guess what? I was right. Tiffany Stratton won, and she qualifies and moves on to go to Money in the Bank. So, hey, you heard it here first. But yeah, I just saw the writing on the wall with that. I really did. Not really nothing to break down. You got the Nia Jax involvement and whatnot. So that is what it is. But it was cool. It was what it was. I don't know what else to say. I mean, Tiffany Stratton won. I was right. That's it. Prettiest moonsault ever. I was right. But I gotta talk to y'all real quick, because of course I want to back up just a tad bit and remind everybody that this was in MSG. This was in the world's most famous arena, Madison Square Garden. So, it was a vibe, it was that's what it is, y'all, So it was great, especially after this past playoffs. It was great to see Logan Paul. Logan Paul made a fan out of me, because he pulled out my man Tyrese Halliburton coming out. He's coming out with Logan Paul. We saw him on the phone together when they was in Indy the week before. We saw Logan, so they already started some storylines and whatnot. So you got my man, Tyrese Halliburton, who of course is a big wrestling fan. He comes out. He's got the brass knucks. And who else is there? Jalen Brunson, man. And listen, I'm going to say this. I'm a Pacer fan. Huge Pacer fan for years. That New York Knicks team is going to be scary. scary. It's not a game out here, y'all. It is not a game out here. This New York Knicks team is about to be scary. But Jalen Brunson is a great piece of that. And I was like, man, he really, I didn't think he was going to jump the barricade, but he did. And then he comes out, he got the chair, he slid in that chair. LA was trying to get the chair. LA Knight was trying to get the chair. Jalen Brunson was like, nah, that's my chair. Listen, I'm about to give him work. You know, he took us out the playoffs. And I'm like, this is what you love to see, man. This is what you love to see when you do that cross promotional type stuff. Nobody's getting hurt. And nobody is, you know, I understand they're athletes. They're worth a lot of money and everybody's trying to win, you know, championships and do this and that. So they couldn't get physical. I understand that. But what we did see, I thought was cool, you know, and I think it was cool for Tyrese Halliburton because I heard through another podcast, a Pacer podcast, who's really close to like the league and whatnot, that when he was part of the Sacramento Kings, he wanted to do stuff with the WWE back then. But the Sacramento Kings would not let him do it. Every time he brought it up, they shut it down. The Pacer organization has been open to letting him do this. Also, as part of this huge deal that's going to be bringing Royal Rumble here, that's going to be bringing SummerSlam, and eventually, of course, a WrestleMania back to Indianapolis. It's all part of this big deal, and I think that it's great. I thought that that was a great moment on SmackDown. If you're a wrestling fan, if you're a sports fan, a basketball fan, I thought that was cool, dope moment. LA Knight, he moves on. I was wrong about Logan Paul, I will say that. LA Knight moves on. He qualifies for Money in the Bank. And it's going to be interesting. You know, I think we all kind of saw the writing on the wall with Naomi qualifying for Money in the Bank. And I think she's a dark horse, I believe, I believe she's a dark horse to win this thing. I think that's an opinion of the voice Josh Joseph as well. I think he kind of feels that same way. That's where it could go. That's the situation and where it could be, you know, is that right there. I do believe that Naomi has a good shot. I don't know. I just feel like it could be Tiffany though. It could definitely be Tiffany. I mean, a lot of different components, to that situation it's the Money in the Bank match, you know, it's the Money in the Bank match and you don't know what you're going to get. So we'll have to really break that down, and we will, because we'll have some time this week to kind of do a preview of Money in the Bank, myself and the team. And then, we're going to do a post show, a big, Sunday house party this coming Sunday. We got a lot of content lined up for y'all. You know, we got another episode where we're going to be previewing Money in the Bank. We're going to have the Eric Dillinger interview. We're going to have the Sunday episode. I'm giving you a solo shot right now. We is giving y'all that work, and that's just what it's going to be, and that's what it needs to be. But somebody else that got that work. Hold on. Before I move on here, let me slide into some comments here. Yeah, voice. I know you use Naomi all day for sure. Grummeister says, I can see that, but my money is on Chelsea. Yes, Chelsea. Yeah. I think it would just be so entertaining seeing her with the briefcase, but Naomi and Tiffy could definitely win. I like Chelsea with the briefcase. I do. I honestly, for a second, I forgot she was in the match, but just me and my son were just talking about it, and we was like, yeah, we'd love to see Chelsea with Money in the Bank. So yeah, definitely she's very, very high on my list, if not top on my list. I think my top two would be Chelsea or Tiffany, and then you could throw Naomi in there at number 3, you know, a chance for Naomi to screw Bayley. Who knows? She's been neutral with Bayley the entire time that she's been back. Even when Bianca Belair still had smoke with Bayley post getting beat down by Damage Control every other week. It was a thing where Naomi was like, "Hey, I wasn't here for none of that. I was not here for any of that. I was I was doing me. I was at the company. I was doing somewhere else. You couldn't, you know, she probably could say it now, but, you know, she was part of TNA, you know, and now they got this partnership with TNA and everything's going really smooth, you know, swimmingly, yada, yada, yada. But, you know, it would, hey, we're all a team here. We're all a team here. So, you know, we're all swapping ideas here and whatnot. But, I want to talk about the the murder of Paul Heyman. Rest in peace, Paul Heyman. Don't get it twisted. It was crazy. I mean, this segment from Paul Heyman just reminds, and you can see it. It was all on social media about how great he was, his acting ability. I even read that to give him that like withered type tired look, he actually deprives himself of sleep in order to obtain that look of stress and strife and things of that nature, And man, this guy is just money. Because when that time comes and he comes back with Roman Reigns, he's going to be clean as a whistle, hair slicked back, clean shaven, eyes, eyes wide, it's going to be a different vibe, man. So I'm enjoying what's happening there, but man, they did this ceremony and it really was a big thing. I mean, you had Tama Tonga, Tongaloa, and Jacob Fatu, pretty much giving their praise to Solo, calling him their tribal chief, and it was a ceremony. They made it their own ceremony. No Roman Reigns, no Jimmy Uso, no Jey Uso. It's just completely different landscape for the Bloodline right now. Completely different landscape, and it looks like that. It looks like that new landscape of the Bloodline did not have a place for a wise man, because once again, like we talked about on this show many times, Roman listened to his wise man. Roman kept, he took counsel. He would take his thoughts into consideration, and sometimes he would do it, sometimes he wouldn't do it. But go back to Roman promos. Go back. Now, just these little things that just add up here. Go back. Anytime he was there sitting in the chair, just thinking, looking like he had something on his mind, he always say, wise man. And he would have him come over. He's like, yes, my tribal chief. And, it would be a whole thing. They would go back and forth about something going on at that moment, and he would receive counsel from Paul Heyman. And as we said before, like Grunmeister actually said this, he compared Solo Sikoa to a spoiled brat, not listening to his counsel, not taking in anything that this man has to say, who's been a part of this legacy for so long. He is just making it all about himself and everything that he wants to do. What are the goals of the Bloodline? That's going to be the next question moving forward, and that's gonna lead us to a question that was asked in the House Call chat. And I kind of want to allude to that real quick. So if you guys are in that House Call chat and you guys want to talk about this real quick, we're going to talk about this, and then I'm going to bring up a little bit of Monday Night Raw and then call this an episode here. So the topic for today, Hypocrisy Jones's topic for today was, who is Cody's SummerSlam opponent? Solo Sikoa, Kevin Owens, Jacob Fatu, or Randy Orton? That's an interesting question. Very, very interesting. Good question there, brought to us by my man Hype. They're in the House Call group chat. And it's a good question. Who could Cody face? Cody just recently got destroyed by Jacob Fatu. He's into it with the Bloodline. Randy Orton is involved in it. Kevin Owens is also involved in helping Cody dispatch the Bloodline, because there's safety in numbers. But at the same time, I mean, Cody Rhodes is still the WWE Undisputed Champion. It's still the richest prize in the WWE, and it's SummerSlam. It's getting to be that time where we're going to have to figure out who's going to fight for that, right? I mean, we know Gunther is going to be facing Damian Priest, or Seth Rollins, or possibly could even be, with a small window opportunity, Drew McIntyre. We'll talk a little bit about that. But honestly, going into this show, I think that there's a lot of heat there with Randy Orton. I think everybody wants to see my man Cody go up against Randy Orton, and I think that there's money in that match. I really do. If you take it back to the Legacy days, Randy was a pivotal point. Was a pivotal person in Cody Rhodes' involvement, his evolution in wrestling, and being a stable leader and being there right by his side. You know, you could always harken back to that. That's always a thing that you could go back to. You know. And and you could do that. Could Orton turn on Cody? Could that be a thing that happens? And could we see them go one-on-one and have a heel versus face? Or do you want to do face versus face since Randy is just over because he's Randy Orton and Cody is over because he's Cody Rhodes, if you want to do that? Or do you want to keep them both baby face and you want to bring in that heel element? It could be time to go ahead and cash in that Solo Sikoa token there. You could throw Solo in the mix. Solo, Randy, and Cody in a triple threat match. And yeah, I think there's something there with that. I really do. I think there's smoke there. And there's other things that you could do with, possibly. Summerslam. Here we go. So you could have, maybe the Tongans in a tag match, but you know what you could do for the first match for Jacob Fatu at SummerSlam? Jacob Fatu versus Kevin Owens. There it is. Clip it. Jacob Fatu versus Kevin Owens at SummerSlam in Cleveland. There it is. Right there. All right? I'm saying it here first. Kevin Owens. Jacob Fatu. SummerSlam. All right? That's the thing. That's the thing that we're going to be talking about. That's a thing. It's a thing that's going to be happening because I'm saying it's happening because I want it to happen. So there you go. I think we see Randy, Solo, and Cody, and I think that you could see Fatu and Kevin Owens at SummerSlam, and then the Tongans can be in a tag match. I don't know where you want to place them at. I don't know who the tag team champions are going to be at that time. Could possibly be DIY, so it could make sense to put them in that tag title match. And then SummerSlam, you have the storyline being that the Bloodline is looking for absolute gold. You can put the Tongans up against whoever the tag team champions are, and then you could put Solo in the undisputed champion, the undisputed title mix. Boom, boom, boom. You know what I'm saying? That's good stuff. And that Jacob Fatu with Kevin Owens, that's 3 matches right there. That's easily 3 matches right there for SmackDown. And why wouldn't you do it? Because it's SummerSlam. It makes sense. I like that. So boom, I'm saying that right there. I'm saying that it's going to be a triple threat match for the Undisputed Championship. Cody Rhodes defends against Randy Orton and Solo Sikoa. And then you're going to have the Tongans, Tama Tonga, and Tongaloa go up against whoever the tag team champions might be. Could possibly be DIY. I don't know if they want to do another triple threat, if they're going to keep the titles on Theory and Grayson Waller, but you could do that. But I'd rather just see DIY versus the Tongans go up against each other, and then boom, debut match for Jacob Fatu, Kevin Owens one-on-one with Jacob Fatu would go nuts. What's up to my man Hype? What is up, bro? But yeah, there it is right there. I think that is a good thought. Give me your guys' thoughts on that. What do you guys think about that booking for SummerSlam? Did a little bit of booking based off the question that my man Hype threw out there in the house call. So yeah, good stuff, and it's all good, bro. It is all good. I'm digging that. But I gotta say, all this stuff is going crazy, bro, because Monday Night Raw was going crazy again. A lot of things moving. with Monday Night Raw, and I got a chance to watch a good portion of it, and then I had to watch some of the previews or reviews and things like that, like on IG and on YouTube and stuff like that. So, a lot of cool things coming out as usual. I did get a chance to see the Wyatt Six come and stalk Gable again. They left another tape. I really want to get, I'm going to talk a little bit about that tape, but I kind of want to talk about it more after I've seen it a couple more times. But, man, that tape. And the presentation of the Wyatt Six, they're still taking care of it. We haven't seen anybody in the ring yet. We know they're here. I like the slow progression. Like, I don't want them to be in the ring anytime soon. Like, maybe, I don't know, Summerslam, maybe even they just keep doing what they're doing. I don't know. Like, I want to see the evolution, because right now we're seeing how everything is meshing together with Bo and Uncle Howdy, and it's just cinema, and they're taking really good care of it in many different ways. It looks like everybody was in the building last night. Last week they only had Abby, I believe it was. Yeah, they just had Abby there and then Bo, and that was it. But they had everybody there, and they're stalking Gable. This whole thing with Gable is crazy. Gable's trying to get his academy back. Once again, I'm just trying to quickly go through everything just to give a brief little synopsis of the show. But I'm just loving everything that they're doing. Something's happening with Xavier Woods. Xavier Woods defeated Karrion Kross. They keep teasing this New Day breakup, and we talked a little bit about it in the group chat. This is either leading to Xavier Woods actually turning heel, or it's got to be the return of Big E to string everything back together. I mean, it's got to be that, right? Like, it's become a thing where it's like, I don't know, bro. You either got to turn, if they're pushing it so hard on TV and talking about it on commentary about everything that Karrion Kross is trying to pull out of Xavier Woods, trying to create that rift. You either got to turn him heel, or somebody's got to come and string it together, and that somebody has to be Big E. There's nobody else, so I don't know, because it looked like he might have broke Kofi's arm last night with that submission hold. And we don't know what's going on with that, but it is a compelling story for the New Day. I will say that. I think that it is. I think that the New Day has really reached that point where they are kind of looked at as like that, oh, let's string them out there because, they're nostalgic and the kids love them and yada, yada, yada. I like the fact that they're still giving stories. They could just stroll out there and just be like, yep, we're just going to be a part of a match to help maybe get another talent over or something like that. But we're continuing the stories, and I think it is a good thing that we're focusing on Xavier Woods, somebody who hasn't rose to the prominence of his, two stablemates. And I think it is a good time to focus on him and give him an opportunity to shine and see what he can do and see what he can be. I do believe that. So maybe the turn will be good for him. Maybe if New Day comes back together as a trio, they get more behind Xavier like he did for each one of them in those times. It's going to be, we'll see. We will see. It's going to be interesting to view how that comes out. But I will see one thing that's been interesting to view. Well, it's Liv Morgan and everything that she's doing, and the stalking of Dominic Mysterio, her daddy Dom, and man, I'm not gonna go through the whole match. I mean, we had Liv retain in the women's world title match, but there was definitely a time where there was like she got pushed, or I think Dom got pushed on top of her, and she was not letting him go. I'm like, oh man, this is like, listen, it was like he was trying to pull out and she wasn't letting up. Like, I'm just keeping it real. That's what it felt like. So like, that was crazy. But we getting closer and closer to that Netflix era, y'all, and we seeing stuff like this, you know what I'm saying? Like, and I don't know. I will say this. Liv Morgan is doing some of her best work. I mean, she just really is. I mean, and she had a title defense, so you can't really say that, there was arguments that this comment. I said somebody got ready. Man. But you can't, there was those arguments on the Rhea Ripley title reign that, her entire title reign was storyline based and she didn't really defend the title. Well, I guess there could have been early whispers. I didn't really see it yet as far as that, but I think that, they was maybe trying to get ahead of it as far as like, hey, everything that Liv is doing is storyline based and she's not really defending the title. Shut that down with a title match against Zelina Vega. And, she's definitely going to have more title matches to come, but they're just moving in a way with her right now where it seems like she really could take over the Judgment Day. She's creating some dissension between Finn Balor and Damian Priest. What's going on with Finn and Liv? There's some weirdness. Like she's putting all the attention on Dominic Mysterio, but it seemed like there's this misdirection there with Finn. So that's something to keep an eye on, no doubt. But man, I gotta say, everything that it's moving is crazy. I said in the group chat last night, I was like, man, the way the fallout with everything that's going on with the Judgment Day has been really compelling. It really has. As somebody who is like, man, I kind of don't want to see another dissension storyline like we were seeing with the Bloodline back in the day when they were having a lot of dissension in their group. I didn't want to see another one happen at the same time. But now that everything's going with the Bloodline, it seems like we have a different Bloodline. Once again, the landscape has changed on that stable completely. With Paul Heyman getting put through a table at 58 years old. I mean, that's crazy. Props to him. I just got to say that again because he a GOAT for real. GOAT manager for real. He is. He just is. But the dissension in the Judgment Day storyline is good. It's juicy. I like it. It's good stuff. Judgment Day is still staying relevant, and this is talking to somebody. This is you guys listening to somebody who comes from there was an era where they would put stables together and you would get excited, and then maybe like a month or two later, they would throw it away as just a storyline to turn on each other. So it's a crazy thing. Finn Balor is welcoming himself into this rivalry with Seth Rollins and Damian Priest. And let's not forget, Finn Balor's always been obsessed with Seth Rollins. He could be jealous of Damian Priest. I said months ago when people were saying, oh, Finn, he's getting buried. They're not doing anything with Finn. They're, yada, 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 blah, blah, blah. I said months ago, pay attention to Finn's facial expressions and when he does get mic time, the things that he says and the way that he says it. Finn Balor is about to do something here crazy in the next couple of months because it's been all slow building. He already told Damian Priest, bro, you've changed. And now and Finn Balor, anytime he's obsessed with Seth Rollins, bro, he just is. And I think there's a thing where Finn Balor could really come in and get in that main event mix right quick and in a hurry for real. Damian Priest, he's been champion since, was it? WrestleMania. Yeah, WrestleMania. He's been champion since WrestleMania, so is it maybe time to pull the plug on the Damian Priest thing? Maybe, and then boom, there's still Gunther in the mix there. Gunther's got his shot at SummerSlam. So what's it gonna be here? Who's it gonna be here? I don't think Finn does anything before SummerSlam. Maybe at SummerSlam something happens. I don't know. All I know is that Finn is somebody you still, like I said months ago, you have to keep an eye on everything that he's doing. Everything that they're doing with the Intercontinental title, I'm loving it. I'm loving this feud with Sami Zayn and Braun Breaker. Braun Breaker having to try to hit him with that super spear, and Sami leapfrogs him, and he runs into the steps. Still, Braun ends up standing tall. Drew McIntyre, he's gonna be walking into Money in the Bank. Zoe Stark, she's gonna be walking into Money in the Bank. Everything going on with the Wyatt Six, Uncle Howdy, Rey Mysterio defeating Dominic Mysterio, and a lot of things moving. I mean, a lot of things. And who knows? Once again, let's get back, before we slide out of here, go back real quick to the title picture. It's up in the air now with that title picture. Who's Gunther going to be going against? It could be Damian Priest. It could be Seth Rollins. But it also, once again, like I noted earlier in the show, it could be Drew McIntyre, because Drew McIntyre said that when he wins Money in the Bank, when he becomes the briefcase winner, he's walking out of Money in the Bank the champion. So could we see Drew McIntyre versus Gunther at SummerSlam? There's a lot of different ways that you can go, a lot of different avenues, a lot of different thoughts that you can move with this. And man, it makes everything interesting. It makes everything compelling. And guys, I thought this was a compelling episode of In Your House after all that we've got a chance to do. Once again, before this, I was editing the Eric Dillinger podcast. That'll be ready for you guys Friday morning when you guys wake up. It'll be ready and good to go. So hope you guys enjoy that. Hope you guys enjoyed this as well. It was a vibe. Guys, you already know you can follow me at Alakan House. That is on all my social media platforms. And at this one, that's at In Your House Pod. It's here. We are here. All right. And that's HOWSE. And the W stands for work. So, guys, you already know the vibes. For the voice, Josh Joseph. For Hypocrisy Jones, my producer. For Grunmeister, for the world's most dangerous podcaster paragon, I am Alakan the Concept House, here to remind you to hop on this bandwagon. Join the house call. Get on. Or get gone. Because the household is still going mighty strong. You guys have a great day and a great rest of your week. Peace.
Yeah. In your house with O'Con. Hey, O'Con, in your house. Hollywood in your house. Hypocrisy's head in the clouds. Curating all kind of loud. Wrestling in front of the crowds. Paragon's holding it down. Anybody can get it. Josh Joseph standing on his decisions. He is the voice. There is no choice. We is them boys in your house making wrestling noise. Moving fast, it's like cruiserweight action. In your house is the perfect distraction. Pumpers in your ears when you in traction. Get this work with some wrestling action. Smoke.